Hello everyone, I'm BatPan, a bat who jumps from the Eiffel Tower. This series of videos will cover the things that could be useful when you're creating a game. And in this video, we will create a lookat function. It is when you look at a game object in your game. If you want an example, it is like when you interact with people in ElderScrolls Oblivion. This is what we'll create by the end of the video. I use the same function in my game. I hope you enjoy it. If you did, a like would be fantastic. And you can also subscribe to see more contents like this. With that being said, let's begin. I previously created this model that we can interact with. If you want to understand the interaction system, I just created that in my previous video. You can click it on top of your screen right now or go to the link in the description. We have an FPS controller. I again told you guys how you can add an FPS controller and add a virtual camera to it. You can get to that video also by clicking on top of your screen right now or again with a link in the description. We want to create that function. To actually create that function, I need to create an empty object on my camera. So I click on my camera, the camera that has the Cinemachine brain and the Cinemachine virtual camera, or actually the camera, because I want to look at from the same place as the camera. I'm gonna right click on my camera. I'm gonna create an empty object. I'm gonna call it talk VCam. VCam stands for virtual camera, but I don't want it to be a child of this camera, so I'm gonna make it a child of the FPS controller. I'm gonna take it and drag and drop it onto the FPS controller. As you guys see, it is no longer under the first person character, our camera. It is actually a child of the FPS controller. One more important thing before we add a virtual camera to our talk VCam, if you actually have a virtual camera before, you have to go to its priority and make it 11 and not 10. Because when you add another VCam, it's gonna mess with your transforms. Okay, and I'm gonna add another VCam. For example, I'm gonna add an empty object. I'm gonna call it test VCam. It is a Unity bug. I don't know why they don't fix it. I'm gonna make this one 10. 10 is by default. And then I go to my test cam and I add a virtual camera. As you guys see, my camera's transform changed. And I cannot undo it. So to stop that from happening, you gotta make it 11 at the start. Make this priority 11. So again, when I add another VCam to this one, the transform doesn't change. But if I change this to 11, again it's gonna change and it's gonna mess with my transforms. So by default, the priority is 10 for every VCam. So you gotta make your actual VCam which has the camera on it 11, so it doesn't mess with your transforms. Okay, we go to our actual talk VCam, then we add a virtual camera to it. We want something to look at. So what do we want to look at? I want to look at its head. You can actually go to its rig and select the head. If you don't have a rig, don't worry, you can add a 3D cube, for example. Place it wherever you want. I'm gonna make it smaller like this, put it here. So this is what I want to look at. So I'm going to say look at cube. And you can just deactivate the mesh render so you guys don't actually see it. And you can deactivate the box collider because you don't need it. Then we go to our talk VCam. We make the aim instead of POV in our actual camera so we can look around. We just in this talk VCam, I'm gonna just make it hard look at. So we make it hard look at, so it looks at the game object. It says we need a target to look at. So we give our cube, drag and drop it onto the look at. Or you can just click on the circle and find your look at cube. We want it to be, you can just click on this so you can actually see your VCam. 30 is fine, maybe 35. This is my actual camera and this is my the camera we talked with. So when you want to talk to him, you just activate this virtual camera and deactivate this virtual camera. It's that easy. And it has actually a transition between the cameras itself on the Cinemachine brain. And this is the transforms time, the transitions time. I made it 1 because it is faster. 2 is a little bit slow, so I make it 1. So we just created the basics. Let's go and open up our code. This is the code I created in the previous video. A simple interaction system. We're gonna add 2 things. One is using Cinemachine because we need a virtual camera reference here. Then we need using Unity standard assets that characters that first person. I'm going to explain to you guys in the following minutes why I added this. So under here, I'm just going to say VCam public virtual camera. I'm going to add a player VCam for my actual virtual camera. And I'm gonna add another Cinemachine virtual camera for my talk VCam. This is my talk VCam, the camera, the vcam with the zoom, and this one is the actual vcam we walk around with. These were two things we needed, and when we transition to our vcam, we don't want to be able to move. So to stop us from moving, I have a first-person controller. So if I don't want to walk anymore or run, I just deactivate this. So when I deactivate this, I won't be able to move anymore. To deactivate the first-person controller in the script, I need to add this to let Unity know what a first-person controller script is. Then I go down here and say public first-person controller script. I'm going to call it FPS controller. When we go inside the interaction, we want to, change the cameras. So I'm going to say vcam, or you know what? I'm going to say change cameras. So up here, first I'm going to activate the talk vcam. It is better to, activate the camera first, then deactivate the other one. So I'm going to say talk vcam true. Then I'm going to say player vcam dot enable false. And I don't want to be able to move, so I'm just going to say FPS controller dot enable is equal to false. I'm just going to deactivate my FPS controller's script. And after I'm done, I want to be able to move again. I'll create that in the following minutes, but first I want to show you a bug it has. It is not actually a bug, it is something to make it more beautiful. So let's check it out. First, we go to our script, added my interact script to my camera, so it needs two virtual cameras, player vcam, which is actually my camera, and a talk vcam. And it needs an FPS controller. You can click here, find it here. It is this and my player. You can drag and drop it or click on the circle. So let's start it up. You can see when I press on him, it zooms on him. When we, zoom on him, you can, move the mouse in the transition. Let me, make the transition 3 seconds so you guys can actually see it better. When I'm transitioning, I can move around until we're finished. So this is not good. I don't want to be able to move the camera when I'm, in the transition. To actually create that, it is actually a very easy fix. I'm going to say fix bug, which is going to fix the bug. So in here, before that, we need two values up here again. I'm just going to say float input X, float input Y. We say vcam input X and vcam input Y, so it doesn't confuse it with other things. We want to, make the sensitivity of the mouse 0 when we're in the transition, and after that we talk, we will make the mouse sense the value it was before. So to save that value, I'm just going to say input X, but vcam input X is equal to our player vcam, the actual vcam we have, which has a POV and which has a mouse sense. Dot, this part is important, get cinemachine component and add a cinemachine POV. Then we go dot horizontal M underline horizontal axis, then max speed. This is it. It's going to take that value, the mouse sense for the horizontal. We need a mouse sense for the vertical as well. So I'm going to say vcam input Y, player vcam dot get cinemachine component, cinemachine POV dot M underline vertical axis dot max speed. Take the values, then we make them 0. So we're just gonna make these 0. You can just copy this, paste it here. Instead of this, just make it 0F. This is the vertical, this is the horizontal. So we, save the values first, then we make them 0. But make the transition again 3 seconds so you guys can actually see the effect better. I won't be able to move the mouse. I'm moving the mouse, but it's not moving. This is the changing the camera into the talk cam. But if we want to reset it and talk again, so under here, I'm just gonna say reset. This is part for the vcam. Inside the vcam, we have a fixed bug section. To change the cameras, we're just gonna say player vcam that enable true and talk vcam that enable false. This was it. This is gonna change the vcam. Then we want to wait for example, 1.3 seconds, 1.2 seconds. It is because our transition is 1 second, so we have to wait 1 second. Then we can, just wait 0.2 more seconds. After that, we want to, the FPS controller that enable to be true. We want to, move around. What else we want? We want the can interact to be true, so we can interact again. This is what I explained in the previous video. It is something that lets us interact or not. If it is actually equal to false, we cannot, talk to him again. We make this true so we can, talk to him as long as we want. Then we need to fix that bug. You can just copy this, and instead of equal to 1, make it equal to the values. I'm just going to copy these 2. You guys can copy 2, so it is actually faster. So instead of equal 1, it is the horizontal axis, so I'm going to make it vcam input X. Make this one vcam input Y. That's it. It's going to fix the bug. It's going to reset its speed. That's it. One more thing. before we go that, we can actually add a noise effect which makes the camera move a little, so it makes it more natural. I have it on my actual camera, so I'm gonna again put it on my talk webcam as well. So when we zoom on him, as you guys see, the camera moves. He says, "Hello, mister." Again, we go to our webcam and we can walk again. We can, here we zoom on his camera. So this was it. This is how we can create a simple lookat function. I personally used it in my own game. This is a simple way of doing it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I tried to explain it as simple as I could. If you guys liked the video, you can actually like it. If you want to see more contents like this, you can subscribe. I'm gonna go do something for the end of the video as I did in all my videos. So this is what I created for the end of the video using the things we said in the video. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.